Hello good people of YouTube, and welcome to my hobby channel and this series of videos in which I take a look at some of the grand battle scale miniatures from Wargames Atlantic. Now, I'm no stranger to Wargames Atlantic's products, having featured some of their Deathfield plastics in my modelling and painting science fiction miniatures book. And in a lot of my YouTube videos, I've also been unboxing and kit bashing their fantasy miniatures and the Baron's War plastics. But last week I reached out to the good people at Wargames Atlantic and asked them if there was any way that they could help support my channel, perhaps by giving me a few samples, products that I could review. And I told them I was particularly interested in their 10mm range of miniatures, and they very kindly sent me all of these. So I've got a box of Classic Fantasy Battles orcs, so that's their orc horde in grand battle scale. I've also got a box of their Classic Fantasy Battles dwarves, their Dwarven Host in grand battle scale. And Wargames Atlantic were also kind enough to send me the Agincourt English and the Agincourt French in their 10mm grand battle scale. So I've lots to unpack in this series of videos. You might also have noticed that I've got a few random 10mm miniatures lying around the place. These are some painted metals from Pendraken Miniatures. They are part of the Pendraken 10mm Fantasy Miniatures range. So at the end of each of these videos, I will be doing some scale comparisons with the other 10mm miniatures that I have in my possession. And hopefully this year will see me paint and complete all of these armies so that I can start gaming with them. And in this video, I will be taking a look at the 10mm Dwarven Host. So we've got 246 hard plastic 10mm figures. And from this box, you can build 72 spear dwarves on 6 bases, 36 sword dwarves on 3 bases, 36 axe dwarves on 3 bases, 36 battle axe dwarves on 3 bases, 36 crossbow dwarves, and 12 ram riders. And there are 15 command and 3 casualties. So we've got a frame and a half of bases, and these are the same dimensions as the old Warmaster bases, I believe 40 by 20. And they're dual purpose, so they work for infantry and cavalry. And then we've got some smaller singles as well, which is cool. And then we have 3 sprues of dwarves, all containing the same miniatures. So we'll take a closer look at one now. This seems to be a little chaotic in terms of where everything's laid out, so I guess you just snip it off the sprue and sort it out as you go along, but they do look great. Right, let's start with some of the single dwarves. That's a fun one there. The crossbow. And then one dwarf casualty. That looks like it could be a command stand there. Dwarf with a big mallet. A musician. I don't know what that one is there. It looks like he's holding some maracas. Just looking at some of these spearmen. And then we've got crossbows there. And then basically two-handed axes and regular axes. And there's another musician and potentially a hero there. So yeah, once again packed full of stuff, and I think really I just need to cut these off and try and sort out what's what. Let's finish up with a look at these ram riders. There's one, another one there. So we've got two with swords and two with these big hammers, and they've all got cloaks. So there are the Dwarven Hosts. Okay, so unboxing and reviewing 10mm miniatures is new for me at the moment, and at this point I've actually filmed the entire video, sat down and edited it and put it together, and I thought I'm not entirely happy with how I've showcased these miniatures, because they are wonderful. So so huge fingers and thumbs aside, let's do it like this. And what I wanted to do was just show each strip of miniatures off a little better than I have done in the edit so far. So by the time you come to watch this video, there'll be a section in the middle which just gives you a better look at each of the different figures that you get within the Dwarven Hosts box. So this guy is the Dwarf Ram Rider with the mallet. And he looks pretty cool. And then we've got the Dwarf Ram Rider with the sword and shield. And there are 6 of each of those 2 different designs in the box. So next we've got a strip of 5 battle axe dwarves. So basically these are 2-handed weapons. Or they are pole axes, because you've still got shields. And here we've got a strip of 3. And a strip of 2. Obviously I still need to clean up the detachment scars on a lot of these. It's quite time consuming and fiddly given their size. Just to remind you again, this is how small they are. Then here we have an individual battle axe dwarf. And another individual battle axe dwarf. As far as I can tell, the dwarf axemen, which are these guys, don't come on a strip of 5. There's a strip of 3 here. And then a different strip of 3 here. And then we have this strip of 2. And this strip of 2. And then we've got these two singles here. And here is a strip of 5 sword dwarves. And then a strip of 3 sword dwarves. And then we've got these two singles. And these two singles. Then we've got a strip of 5 dwarves with crossbows. And they're in cloaks. One strip of 3 dwarves with crossbows. A different strip of 3 dwarves with crossbows. And a single dwarf with a crossbow. And then the largest selection of dwarves are the dwarves with spears. So we've got this set of 5. Then we've got this set of 5. And then we've got this strip of 3. And this strip of 3. This strip of 2. And this strip of 2. And then we've got these 2 individual dwarfs with spears here. And these 2 individual dwarves with spears here. And then we've got 3 of those dwarf casualties. A strip of 3 command, including this drummer. And I can't find the drum. And then a strip of 2 command, which includes a hero and a hornblower. So I've had a little look here. I think this guy here playing the maracas is meant to be a drummer. And I can't find a drum anywhere on the sprue. There is a drum there on the Orc Horde sprue. 1 on each. And there is a drummer there. So that's cool. But there is nothing that I can see on the dwarf sprues, and I've been chopping bits out and I cannot find a drum anywhere. So he will forever be playing the maracas. What I might do is end up making a drum out of a little bit of sprue like that there. These are a handy, useful shape, so possibly that, but cannot see a drum anywhere. It would appear that it didn't make it onto the dwarf sprue. So I finished snipping all the miniatures off the sprues and then sorting them out into various units. Now I think you're meant to have 6 miniatures per rank on each base, 2 ranks of 6, so 12 miniatures to each base. I haven't got any rules for this game or anything, so I'm just kind of winging it really. 2 cavalry on each base. Now they come in strips of 5, but you get lots of single miniatures, so that you can make 6s, and then you've got the 3s and the 2s and everything that allow you the opportunity to mix and match and try and change things around, so there's not too much repetition with each base. But as you can see, I haven't done that. I've basically taken the front rank of 5 and then added the other miniatures behind, and I've got leftovers. So although on the box it says something like 36 miniatures to give you 3 bases, I've actually only used 30 miniatures to get me my 3 bases, which means there are 6 miniatures left over. Sometimes you can thin them down a little bit more. You can leave some spaces. You can put little rocks and boulders on the bases to take the place of an individual. And you can push things a little bit further. So that's where I'm at. I've also got these command bases. So there's 3 that contain 3 miniatures, and then there's 3 strips of 2 miniatures as well, and I can't fathom out how these are meant to work. But if you decide to give a unit a command, then obviously you remove a strip, you add your command, you put down a couple of single figures as well, and you get yourself a front rank of 5, and then you have a spare strip. So with the spears, if you put a command in, you could potentially make 7 bases if you're only putting 10 miniatures on each base, 10 miniatures or fewer. So that's not something I'm going to get into in this particular video. I just wanted to do an unboxing and a quick sprue review, and then a look at the miniatures when they're laid out in front of you, which we have here. And I will finish off with a quick scale comparison as well. And then I'll deal with the painting and basing of these miniatures in a separate video. Now, as I may have mentioned earlier in this video, I do have the Warmaster rules. I've had these for a while, and I've really wanted to get into the game a lot more than I was able to when it first came out. This is a signed copy as well. I was lucky enough to get Rick Priestley to sign this one for me when I was writing my own modelling books, and Rick Priestley was writing the foreword for those. So this is a much cherished set of rules and something I'm looking forward to using. So we'll just finish off by taking a quick look at some of these figures close up. There's a lot to paint here, but I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm hoping it will give me the opportunity, as I said, to maybe play Warmaster again, or Battle of the Five Armies, and I just want to work out what to do with the command sprues and all these spare miniatures that I've got here in time for my next video update on this hobby project. Just to finish off with, I thought I'd do a quick scale comparison for these 10mm dwarves. So we've got some 10mm elves there from Pendraken Miniatures, and they are on a slightly wider base, 20mm by 45mm, I think, possibly even 50mm. So I will be rebasing those elves so that they fit closer together and with the same frontage as 5 dwarves here from Wargames Atlantic, or 5 orcs. Now again, those are 10mm grand battle scale dwarves and orcs from Wargames Atlantic, and here I've got an orc shaman and an orc bowman from Pendraken Miniatures. Again, I hope you can see those okay. Those were painted for my Modelling and Painting Fantasy Figures book, and I've got 2 warbands there, the elf warband and the orc warband, that I still haven't used. Now there may be a slight discrepancy in scale because these 10mm orcs from Pendraken are sculpted in metal, whereas the 10mm orcs from Wargames Atlantic have been produced in plastic, so they're slightly smaller. I don't think that would be a problem necessarily, because of course orcs and goblins vary in size. If you've played Warhammer, you'll know you've got big uns, you've got black orcs, you've got Urukai. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do there, which is great. So I will be looking in future videos as to how I can incorporate miniatures from both Wargames Atlantic and Pendraken onto the same battlefield and potentially into the same armies. The other thing I have here is an old Citadel hill giant, which by today's standards is about the same size as a Warhammer the Old World Chaos Marauder. And you can see he's got a collection of dead heads strapped to his base, which kind of give him away as being a 25mm or 28mm miniature. But if for the sake of an argument we say those were troll heads or ogre heads, then potentially he works as a giant. And that is something that I'm quite keen to look into once I start building up my new proxy and alternative Warmaster armies. I'll be looking at how we can use some of the old 25mm pre-slaughter miniatures to create giant monsters. For use with our Warmaster armies. As always, thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please smash that like button. Please share this video and please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do, but please keep those comments kind and respectful. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.